people focus on the differences that they want to focus on. I always joke about the difference between me and my brother Garland. And most folks would say, well, you know, you come from different backgrounds. I'm like, no, he's got a foot on me. And I always have to adjust the microphones. But the thing about it is that humans come in all shapes and sizes. And that's what makes us human. It's a beautiful thing about us. And this country has always been about bringing people across our differences together. E pluribus unum. That is an American ideal. Out of many, one. I'm a kid who was born and raised, a child of immigrants, raised by my daughter of the American Revolution stepmom, raised in the part of our state with the largest Jewish minority in the state, who lived with my Presbyterian deacon grandparents in college, and broke bread at Thanksgiving dinner with my Polish atheist uncle. Ain't that America? And I love that about America. Every single one of those people enriched my life. And I'm so, so grateful to have had that. Now, when somebody like Jake Lang comes here, a convicted January 6th terrorist, and targets Dearborn, it's not because he hates a particular group of people, it's because he hates that thing about America. That America is bigger than the small version of it that he wants it to be. He hates the idea that he doesn't get to define America to be so small that it only includes a few people who look and think and act just like him. And if you don't believe me, ask yourself why somebody like that would violently attack America. And the irony of it is that he uses the word terrorist and does terrorist things. And I say this because unfortunately, there has always been a tug of war in this country between him and what he represents, and all of us and what America represents. There are a group of people who think that the pie is only so big, and they don't realize that the way that you build a bigger pie is to get more people building the pie. And we have that opportunity. And so we're here today not just against hate, but for America. The America, we understand America to be e pluribus unum, a place where it shouldn't matter the color of your skin, shouldn't matter how you pray or if you pray. Shouldn't matter where your family comes from, shouldn't matter who you love, that you get to be just as American. And I just say, in Dearborn, when you talk to somebody like Jake Lang, they're going to define Dearborn around a particular ethnic community or faith community that's here. But they don't realize that this is also the place where the assembly line was built. Where people came together, despite differences, building a thing together. That is the best metaphor for America. People coming together to build a thing together. And right now, the reason they want to have a conversation about religion, about race, the reason they're churning up the likes of the KKK is because they don't want to have a conversation about what they're failing to provide. Right now in America, there are people shopping at grocery stores, second-guessing what they can include in their cart. Right now in America, there are people who've outgrown their homes and don't know if they can get another one. There are people in America who'd love to own a home, but understand that's never going to happen for them. There are people in America who can't pay off their loans, whether that was a credit card loan to afford those groceries, or a student loan to get an education, or a car loan, or a mortgage, or a loan they had to take because they got sick and fell into medical debt. There are people in America who are driving broken roads, breathing unclean air, drinking impure water. And all that this administration and its apologists want to do is figure out how to divide us rather than unite us around the things we could do to actually solve those problems together. Because I don't care how you pray, who you love, how you identify, you deserve a good home. You deserve good health care. You deserve to know that you can see a doctor when you get sick. You deserve protections at your job. You deserve the opportunity to breathe clean air, drink clean water. That is what all of us here are united around. I'm going to finish here with just a thought I had that kept coming to my mind as I thought about what I would say here today. And there's a verse in the Quran that says, do not let another people's hatred for you stop you from doing justice. If that is not the greatest call to unity, I don't know what is. Because the thing about justice is that justice gets peace. And peace begets prosperity. Prosperity begets opportunity and friendship and love. So even when there is hate, the best answer is justice. So all of us here are united around the idea that we deserve a kind of justice in this country where you don't have to worry about basic things in the richest, most powerful country in the world. And we have that opportunity. So I'm so deeply grateful for all of our leaders who are standing here today against hate for America, for the idea of a place where it shouldn't matter who you are, you deserve the basic good things in this world, and we can have nice things if we're really willing to reach across the divides they tell us we can't breach. Jake Lang just reminds us just how much stronger we are together. Thank you.
Minutes for questions for our speakers from the press. If you have a question, can you raise your hand, please? Yes, name and outlet, please.
Hannah McElroy, CBS News Detroit. So you said today's event is not just about standing against hate, but getting together for America. What does that look like in practice?
It starts with the idea that what's central to America is we have democracy. Don't forget who Jake Lang is. Don't forget what Mike Rogers has said, what Donald Trump has said. Both of them questioned the outcomes of their own elections, which they lost. So maybe let's just start there. The gutting of the Voting Rights Act by Supreme Court justices appointed by this particular president. And the need for us to come out to stand up. In the last election, and my brother Garland can say a little bit more about this, but in the last elections, we had observers from the Department of Justice. Now why? We've been running some of the cleanest, best elections in Michigan anywhere. And the attack on democracy is an attack on America itself. So maybe let's just start there. Let's start with the idea that in America we solve our disagreements peaceably by way of democracy, choosing our leaders, coming together to build the things we need and deserve.
To build on that, just yesterday, we saw a dangerous example that opened the door to the possibility that the people of Michigan would not get a chance to follow the Constitution to make possible for Michiganders to be able to cast ballots. To instead put the choice into the hands of the people who have rejected our choices, the people who have attempted to overthrow the American government because they were upset because too many people voted in a way they didn't agree with. That is one of the most hateful and heinous acts that could be thrust upon the people of this country. As Michigan's next Secretary of State, I'll have a role to play in protecting that right here in the state of Michigan and making sure that Michiganders will be able to make their voices heard and their power felt, regardless of how Washington feels about it, regardless of how a president feels about it. But to see what the haters want to do is, again, shrink who gets to make choices. They are afraid of full participation because, as I said before, hatred narrows, it shrinks, it smothers, rather than embrace. We here love one another, love our communities, and we want everyone in our community to participate. We want everyone to have a say, because we know everything is better when more of us are part of it.
Yep, right there.
Hi, Tyler Scott, Michigan Advance. We saw Senator Jeremy Moss's statement yesterday about the Sondbiker's comments. He said you and he have been working together to unite the community and against MAGA extremism, kind of staying on theme here. What's the status of that relationship? And do you hope to get his endorsement before November?
Well, look, I like to keep private conversations private. And what I'll tell you is that the conversations I've had with future Congressman-elect, God willing, Jeremy Moss, have been about what it looks like to come together agreeably across our disagreements. You know, I'm not going to sugarcoat the idea that we have disagreements, particularly when it comes to foreign policy and the best use of our tax dollars. And the plurality of Michigan Democratic primary voters nominated me to be the Democratic nominee. Now, Now, I think it's important for us to recognize that the position that I hold on foreign policy is about trying to uplift and empower all people. Is about the kids in a community not too far from here where the median income is $14,000 a year, and the fact that Detroit Public Schools Community District is still nearly $1.7 billion behind on the necessary repairs in the school district, despite putting $700 million into the school district over the last year. It's about keeping our tax dollars here to invest in those schools here. It's also about making sure that in our foreign policy we substantiate equal rights to peace, dignity, and self-determination for Palestinian folk. And I'd rather my tax dollars not get spent to take away some people's self-determination that could be used to empower other folks here. That's not about hating anybody. I'm grateful to have grown up in a community where I got so much exposure and empowerment from the Jewish community. I'm so grateful. Judaism and the Jewish people are a light unto the world. Incredible contributions to our society, our culture, a beautiful faith that rhymes with so much of my own. And so, we're going to continue to have that conversation. And so far as there are disagreements about foreign policy, my hope is that folks understand where those disagreements align, and also understand that that does not come at the cost of Jewish safety. He's been one person with whom I've had a conversation among so many leaders in the Jewish community who've opened their arms to me and been willing to have a really, really good conversation. I'm looking forward to continuing those conversations. And I think all of us agree that the things that divide us are so much smaller than the things that unite us against somebody like Mike Rogers. Don't forget, that rally, Jake Lang's rally, attended by somebody who is a part of the Rogers campaign. Don't forget that Mike Rogers questioned the outcome of his 2024 election against a Jewish American Senate candidate and now U.S. Senator Alyssa Stocking. Don't forget that Donald Trump, the chief surrogate for Mike Rogers, wined and dined Nick Fuentes. Don't forget that we deserve union rights and guaranteed health care and opportunity in good schools. Those are all things that Jeremy and I agree on. I'm looking forward to building that relationship and moving forward to take back the U.S. Senate and start moving on some legislation that protects all of our communities and empowers everybody.